Dermal aberration. Call start. Beginning of transcription. The civilian was identified as blank-year-old blank.
911, what is your emergency? Hello, yes, look. Calling because there's a guy screaming like crazy here inside the subway. Seems to be very, very hurt. He's crying and hitting the walls. Can you give me your location, please? Yes, I'm in...
Blank.
By...
Blank.
And...
Blank.
By the entrance to the stairs in line.
Blank.
Thank you, stay on the line, please. You said...
Blank.
By...
Blank.
And...
Blank.
Right? Yeah, there. Were you with this person, or did you see why they were screaming? No. I mean, yes. I went over because I wanted to use the subway, but I didn't get a good look at what happened. Saw this bloody person, and I ran away because I was afraid of getting caught up in something fucked up. Looked like someone else attacked him, you get me? Good, right. There's already a patrol car and an ambulance on its way. Thank you very much. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
End of call. End of transcription. Call start. Beginning of transcription.
911, what is your emergency? Give me an ambulance now, please. Someone's dying on me. They're bleeding to death, please! Where are you? Please state your location.
Blank.
Please, for God's sake, his whole face is open. He's bleeding a lot. I can see the bones in his face, and he is moving his jaws as if in desperation. I don't know what happened to him. I thought he was hit by the subway, but the subway's not here. My God. No. No. What did you say?
Blank.
Yes. Quickly. Please. It's okay. Please remain calm. There's an ambulance on the way. Please remain on the line and tell me what happened. Hello? Are you still there?
Rapid footsteps can be heard passing at a jogging speed by the civilian, accompanied by heavy breathing.
Ma'am? Ah!
The civilian's cell phone falls to the ground.
Are you alright?
Thuds, followed by gargling and eventual silence, are audible on the transmission. End of call. End of transcription. Note: the civilian's cell phone was found roughly 100 meters in the direction of the station, blank from blank. There are no traces of the civilian who made the call. Item number: SCP-ES-300. Object Class: Keter. Classified: Level 3. Special Containment Procedures. The anomaly is to be contained in a medium-sized Level 2 security cell, protected by standard humanoid defense protocols within Site-275. Reinforced by concrete walls, the cell is amply illuminated with LED lights that are kept constantly active and climatically conditioned by the presence of an AC system in pipes distributed throughout the cell. The cell is to be guarded by at least 2 guards on 8-hour rotations. In case of an eventual containment breach, the surveillance and search and rescue force will be deployed throughout the surrounding territory in an area of 200 kilometers, carrying out a search and saturation operation against the anomaly in case of direct contact. Information no longer valid. The current containment procedures became invalid due to a breach of containment that occurred on blank. For more information, please view the new document. Description: SCP-ES-300 is an entity possessing a humanoid appearance. It presents an erratic behavior in addition to its morphological condition. Its physical appearance depends on the host which it finds. The anomaly physically resembles a human person, possessing attributes that a human being would possess under regular conditions, taking as reference the presence of a pair of legs, torso, a pair of arms, neck, and head. This defined composition is strongly demarcated by the lack of a dermal layer, i.e., it lacks skin, and can be described as skinned. Further studies demonstrate the lack of certain muscle tissue in various areas of the body, as well as an abnormal state in other areas of the body, such as myositis. Footnote: hypermuscular inflammation, and irregularities in recognizable muscles, lack of genitalia, and lack of defined facial features. Footnote: except for the notable presence of irregular dental structure, among other things. SCP-ES-300 has a particular method of host selection, a process which determines who will be the next carrier of the entity itself, until a new subject is found. This selection process takes into account factors such as ease of capture, study of the environment, risk of being captured, and risk of well-being of the anomaly itself. This has led the Foundation to believe the anomaly possesses a degree of sapience. In addition, the presence of a possible victim generates a spasmodic behavior in the creature, showing it possesses an obsessive-compulsive character. Once the victim is selected, SCP-ES-300 will come out of its hiding place, sobbing and screaming in the direction of the prey, until it collides directly with it. This event is called SCP-ES-300-1. Once contact has been established, SCP-ES-300 will proceed to integrate itself bodily into the victim, dislodging the victim's jaw with its own hands, and physically entering the victim. The methods by which such an event is possible are thus far inconclusive. Once the above process is completed, SCP-ES-300 will temporarily adopt the skin of the deceased as a kind of shell, which it will wear until it decides to change its skin. In this state, it will present a very chaotic and destructive behavior towards its environment. Several ways in which this has been done have been documented, the most notorious being to pose as a victim of various disasters, including fires, traffic accidents, industrial accidents, among others. Priority is given to heavily mutilated victims or those who are wandering alone late at night. The location of SCP-ES-300 does not seem to be fixed, having a tendency to wander within the busiest lines of the Argentine subway and metro. The connection between these lines allows it to move with a certain degree of autonomy between stations, sometimes impersonating station personnel if necessary. The entity does not seem to have a specific reason for being, other than to cause distress and suffering. This has been studied and analyzed by various specialists in the behavioral area, with all of them reaching the same conclusion. Initial Containment Log. Following a joint investigation with the Argentine Federal Department of Risk and Disaster Management, an intervention was initiated in areas prevalent in a probable SCP-ES-300-1 event. The operation was carried out by a joint task force formed by the Argentine Judiciary Police and specialist agents from the Foundation. A simulated scenario was prepared well in advance in several subway lines of the Argentine metropolitan area. Cameras were positioned in different areas of the stations, and a special intervention protocol was designed for an assault by several specialized units in the event of an active SCP-ES-300-1 event. As part of the operation, a specialist officer from the Special Forces component of the Foundation posed as a civilian during the early morning. The officer was instructed to roam various subway stations until he witnessed an active SCP-ES-300-1 event. At around blank hours, SCP-ES-300 appeared in substation blank of line blank. It ran into the facility through the sectional staircase at the north end of the station. Between screams of pain and desperation, it approached the officer requesting medical assistance. On this occasion, the entity was carrying the skin of a young woman who appeared to be between 25 and 35 years of age, with a fair complexion and short stature. The officer was instructed to try to restrain the entity, an instruction that was issued and effectively carried out on the spot. The anomaly presented extreme resistance, even physically hurting the officer. The officer used his weapon, firing several shots and subduing the aggressor, while the saturation and containment teams, footnote, SCT, were present at the scene. Division Delta Del SCT was responsible for the apprehension of SCP-ES-300, being subdued and transported to the Metropolitan Anomaly Containment Division. During transport, SCP-ES-300 shed its skin, revealing for the first time the true physical form of the anomaly. A CBNR, footnote, chemical, biological, and nuclear disinfection team was tasked with sampling and subsequent disinfection of the transfer equipment. An expedition identified a possible hiding place or safe area for SCP-ES-300 in the vicinity of the blank decommissioned line located inside a disused security terminal. Dermal remains of approximately 8 persons were found and identified, 7 of whom were previously reported missing. Based on a DNA dating and identification study, it was discovered that the oldest remains belonged to blank, aged blank, who was declared deceased following an accident on line blank on blank. The operation was declared a resounding success. Containment breach and tracking operation. On blank, an incident was reported at the Metropolitan Anomalous Containment Division in the early morning hours, resulting in the escape of SCP-ES-300 and subsequent containment breach status. Official sources indicated a brief weapons fire between primary security and SCP-ES-300's cell. One of the officers guarding the cell indicated the absence of his partner, and moments later requested that the cell be opened due to suspicion of the officer's possible presence inside the cell. After opening the door by force, SCP-ES-300 proceeded to flee quickly from the containment cell, attacking the external security guards. It took one of the injured agents as a host and left the scene without attracting attention, being lost before the security agents fully comprehended the situation. The officer responsible for the breach testified fervently that he had seen his colleague inside the cell and indicated that he had not acted in bad faith. He was removed from his position and added to the demotion list. His testimony is pending review. Following the incident, a joint search operation was carried out by local and federal security forces, monitoring the disaster and accident management network. Health personnel and doctors working with the Foundation have been duly notified of the current status of the anomaly in order to cover the health field. To date, there has been no information on the whereabouts of SCP-ES-300.